Sometimes news about NIO are very confusing. So just now JP Morgan has slashed their rating to neutral. They had a buy and slashed their target price to $4.7 per share. And then the next day, literally the next day, we got the news that JP Morgan has increased their stake in NIO to about 4 million shares. And this is not the first time Wall Street does something like this to NIO. So we all remember Goldman Sachs, who actually downgraded NIO to sell and slashed their target price to $3.7 per share. And now we figure out that Goldman Sachs also holds 4 million shares of NIO. So let's try to understand what's going on, because right now we have a new information from all of the financial companies, because this is the season of 13F forms, where all of the financial companies need to disclose their holdings. And we can, by looking at these holdings and comparing to the previous ones, understand what are the holdings which these companies increased or decreased. So which shares they bought and sold. So first of all, we can see quite a large position from Morgan Stanley. They, by the way, have a target price of $6.1 on NIO, so they have increased their position by 77% to 24.4 million shares, which is a nice position, but they are not the clear winner. The clear winner is UBS, who had increased their position almost tenfold, and now they are holding about 44 million shares. But in general, if we're talking about institutional investors in NIO, the trend is not very positive. So right now, institutional ownership of NIO is at its lowest since 2019. And this is not such a good piece of news, because institutional investors are usually the ones who actually move the stock. You and me, we can buy a couple of hundreds, couple of thousand shares, but these bulks of millions and tens of millions of shares, they are the one which are moving the stock. Hello and welcome to the Market Monkeys channel. My name is Vadim. Today I wanted to talk about NIO, and I wanted to share some interesting things which I found about this company. And I want to start with one analysis which I found on Seeking Alpha, which have a interesting spin on NIO. So this article is called NIO, A Long Road to Profitability with No Guarantees by Kenny Fontes. He discusses a lot of things about the company, but one thing which I found really interesting is he tries to measure how many vehicles does NIO have to deliver in order to become profitable. So let me explain a little bit about why this is interesting. We have a lot of signals from the management lately that NIO will become profitable in Q4 2025, Q1 2026. In general, management likes to talk about when NIO will become profitable. And if you're looking only at, for example, NIO deliveries, or if you're looking only at quarterly results, you're not always see the clear picture. Is the company getting there? How fast it's getting there? So when management, for example, says Q4 2025, are we getting there? So what Kenny Fontes tries to calculate is how many vehicles does NIO have to deliver. And this is much more measurable, and this is much more clear, like how far are we from the profitability. And he can calculate that because right now NIO earns money on every vehicle which they are delivering. And I'm looking at you, Rivian shareholders. Your company is losing $20,000 on every car they're delivering. Like, why the hell are they keep delivering cars? Like, you're probably not very happy about the growth of the company, right? But anyway, back to NIO. NIO actually earns money on every car they are delivering. So if they will deliver more cars, they will earn more money. And at some point, there is a number where NIO will become profitable. Now, Kenny Fontes does a couple of assumptions to get to this number. Assumption number one, the gross margins on every car will increase to about 15%. This is not such a large increase, and this seems reasonable. Like, the company will scale their production, they will become more efficient at producing and delivering cars, and it's safe to assume that the margins will increase. The second assumption is a bit more tricky. So he assumes that the expenditures for every car will stay pretty much the same. Now, usually when companies ramp up their revenues, their expenses grow as well, or almost grow as much as revenue does. But we can kind of walk around this assumption by saying, yes, expenses for every car will grow, but for example, R&D expenses will decrease. So let's for now just stay with this assumption and let's see what he gets. And by the end, he gets to a number of 700,000 vehicles a year. So in the end, NIO has to deliver about 700,000 vehicles a year to become break-even. By the way, if you find this information valuable or interesting, press the like button, subscribe to our channel, and you can become a member of the Market Monkeys channel. Now, 700,000 vehicles sounds like a lot, but it's actually a doable number. BYD has delivered 4.2 million last year. But we need to understand kind of the whole landscape. Last year, NIO has delivered about 224,000 vehicles. Management guided that this year they will deliver about 440,000 vehicles, and JP Morgan, in their article where they discovered the downgrade of NIO and their new target price, they have said that they expect the company to deliver 334,000 vehicles in 2025. Now, NIO's guidance is kind of assumes that the company will grow 100% in vehicles delivery, which is a lot. JP Morgan, even they are assuming that the company will kind of grow about 50%. But we can see that even if we're taking the most optimistic assumption of 100% growth, 440,000 is still not 700. We are still not there. So now you can understand that will NIO become profitable in Q4? Now you have an answer. No, they will not. They will not even become profitable in Q1 2026. They can become profitable in Q4 2026 if they pull out 2 amazing years when they grow close to 100% in 25 and in 26. Now let's discuss my investment in NIO, because NIO is kind of white whale for me. I have talked about it in previous videos and I kind of want to explain a little bit more in details. So all of my investments are split into two. 90% of my money, even 95% of my money, is in disgustingly boring portfolio with just a bunch of ETFs, and I'm not touching it, I'm not even checking it a lot. Now, what happens to other 5% of my money is more interesting. So I'm actively managing this small portfolio, and in this small portfolio, I make decisions based on two factors. First of all is, of course, business financial factor, like I'm not trying to buy some Bitcoin or some shit like that. No, I'm trying to buy good companies. And the second one is the market sentiment. So market sentiment is how much the company is active, so the trading volume, and how many catalysts the company has which are expected by the market. I'm trying to look at the company to identify some catalysts for the company in the near future. And what I'm doing is I'm buying call options, out of the money call options for these catalysts, plus some buffer of about 3-4 months. So for NIO, my plan is to go and buy out of the money call options for about a year from now. So we're talking either January 26 or March 26. By that time, I think we will already understand if the goal of kind of delivering almost triple-digit growth in 25 will be clear, and the stock of the company will reflect whether this goal was achieved or not. If the company will manage to grow about 100%, I think the stock will not be where it is right now at about $4 per share. I think I will buy the call options with a strike of about 6 or 6.5. And to buy them, I talked about this in the previous video, I'm waiting for NIO shares to drop below $4 per share. And this is just not happening. Like for the past 3-4 weeks, NIO stock have reached 402 and then went back to 4.5. Then it dropped down to 407, went back to 4.5, and I'm just sitting and waiting for NIO to just give me $3.99. I will enter the position immediately, but it's just not happening for now. So right now, I'm still waiting for NIO stock to drop below $4 in order for me to buy the call options. As soon as this will happen, I will of course update you and record a video about that. Please let me know if you guys in the audience have call options on NIO, and what is kind of your theory, what is your investment thesis on these call options? Like what is your strike, what is the maturity of your call options, and how did you pick them? which catalyst do you see in NIO's future. Thank you very much for watching. That's all for now. If you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to our channel, and we will see you in the next video. Take care.